Israeli Justice Minister and influential political leader Gideon Sa'ar is in Morocco to advance normalization between the two countries. Minister Sa'ar is joining us today.
Good evening, Yaakov.
You have just signed a legal cooperation agreement with Morocco. What's the idea behind it?
First of all, the idea is to strengthen all policy fields we can in order to strengthen bilateral ties with Morocco. And the idea is to find common issues on both legal systems that we can share knowledge and experience. And we just did it in this framework of the MOU, like digitalization of legal proceedings, or even cooperation between the Muslim religious courts, who both act in both countries in specific issues, and other fields of legal policy. And we are already working on another two legal agreements of strengthening ties between the legal establishment in both states.
Now, was part of the problem the fact that some Israeli criminals have fled to Morocco in recent years?
Well, we will deal with it. It is not something that was very common in the conversations here, but we are working on an agreement that will allow the states to make sure that such criminals will move to their land in order to fulfill their punishment. All the legal cooperation between the states is in its beginning, but we are serious to move forward, and so are our colleagues from the Kingdom of Morocco.
Tell me a little bit about the atmosphere in your meetings, the outlook for maybe more cooperation.
First of all, very warm, very not formal. And I just had another meeting with Minister Lacage, and we had a decision to make a football match between the young teams, young football teams of both countries within 2 months. And there is a goodwill in order to do things together, and a mutual feeling that in terms of economy, business, trade, we can do a lot together. As you know, there is a huge Jewish Moroccan community in Israel, which still have very warm feelings towards Morocco, and there is a curiosity among business people in Israel about the possibilities in Morocco. And we are only about 18 months or so after the establishment of the formal relations, and I believe it will move very rapidly forward during the next years.
Mm-hmm. During your meetings, was the issue of Western Sahara brought up?
Not yet, but I still have a meeting with the foreign minister, and I will guess this issue will be raised there.
What is the actually the Israeli position on Western Sahara exactly?
We think last statement given by Spanish government realizing the Moroccan idea for autonomy as a positive idea. Altogether, personally, I think that myself, I support the Moroccan position, and I think this is the right position. This is the step that the United States took about 2 years ago, and personally I think this is the right position.
Okay. Now, we are in the middle of an election campaign in Israel. You have recently formed an alliance with Benny Gantz as a moderate right party. What is your position regarding the Palestinian issue?
We had very long discussions on the issue, and we have a common position, and according to our position, in the foreseeable future, it is not realistic to expect that the issue will be solved by a final status agreement and end of claims by the Palestinians, but we think we can minimize the conflict, and I think we can have a position of moving to a more significant Palestinian autonomy without hurting the security of the citizens of Israel and Israel as a country. I don't think we are in front of establishing a Palestinian state or annexing Judea and Samaria in the next years. As you know, there is a commitment that Prime Minister Netanyahu gave to President Trump to hold the issue of sovereignty during the next years in the context of the Abraham Accords, and we fully respect that commitment. So I think that we have a positive idea how we can move forward and the things we can move forward. And I don't think that much can be done more than what we all together think together.
Mm-hmm. Now, your vision regarding the next Israeli government is a wide centrist coalition, but this is almost impossible these days in Israel. So how are you going to do it?
You know, before the previous election, when I talked about a change government, and I said very clearly, even in the night of the elections themselves, that we are going to topple Netanyahu and we are going to form a change government. Most of the journalists says, no, it ain't going to happen. You're going to have a government headed by Netanyahu or a fifth election. And eventually, it didn't happen. The most important thing today is to make sure Netanyahu won't have the 61 seats of his allies that he's desired to have. And if it will be that way, I'm positive, and it's more than an assessment, that new possibilities will occur.
Israeli Justice Minister Gideon Sa'ar, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.